What is up, everyone? Here we are coming at you, me and Jake Heath, with the official UFC 252 main event prediction between Stipe and DC. We were ready to talk about this one, waiting all week, trying to see what they weighed in at, how they were looking, but now we're ready to discuss it. It's about like 1 in the morning, but we're getting after it right now. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to start with you, Jake Heath.
Uh,
How are we feeling? How's it going to go down?
what's good, guys? This is a big fight we got coming up here. Trilogy, heavyweight, main event. Uh, for Stipe, I think it's all about obviously like keeping the distance. In DC, he likes to get up and close and do that dirty boxing. He likes to clinch the way he got the knockout in the first fight, and they got the 10 foot, the shorter cage. So that's an interesting factor. you know. I'm really not sure how this one's gonna play out because I think in the last fight, DC kind of got exposed in like the way he was succeeding throughout the first two fights. Because when you look at the big picture, like these guys have fought for like how long? Like 25 minutes, and like I feel like
Yeah.
DC has won like how many of those minutes? Like at least 20 or like 22. So like I don't know. That's
DC
why I think.
has like 120 minutes, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I'm saying. Like I feel like he's won like almost all like most of the time they've been in there. So I think like that's why I feel like like he's gonna be able to get this one done. But like I feel uh like I'm not sure how he's gonna be able to react like I feel like that's how he's gonna react to the body shots in this fight is gonna determine like how it plays out. Because like if Steve is able to get those body shots off again, and like DC isn't able to like get those like combinations like he did before,
Yeah.
like grabbing his hands, just walking in. But like, yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I wanted to bring up was I've been reading a lot. Like, a lot of people on Twitter and shit are like, Stipe's gonna gas DC out, especially if DC tries to wrestle with them. And
Yeah,
then I was thinking, I was like, I feel like I and a lot of people probably look at DC as a workhorse because of the wrestling pedigree, all that sort of shit. But when you really look at his record, the only time he's gone 5 rounds recently, and it wasn't even that recently, was against Gustafsson, and that was a war.
yeah,
And against Jones, obviously, he started out well, got finished in the third. So while I was thinking, will DC get tired? And I'm starting to think that for in a 5 round fight, I don't know if DC can cruise for 5 rounds against a guy like Stipe. So
yeah.
I'm starting to think that maybe if it does go to championship rounds and Stipe's still in there, and he's obviously he can't be too damaged at that point. But if he's doing well going into the fourth and fifth rounds, I do think you probably got to favor Stipe the further the fight goes, which is kind of contrary to what I originally thought.
Yeah. I think DC is gonna take like he's taking the cardio aspect of this fight a lot more serious than the last fight because this is how he's gonna go out. Uh, like I really think DC is like more motivated than he ever has been to get this win because I feel like this fight really is gonna determine his career because when he lost that second fight to John Jones, it was like, that was like the biggest moment of his career. But now he has this trilogy with Stipe, and it's kind of his opportunity to like put his stamp on his career as like number one. You know what I mean? Because he's always like kind of came out as number two.
Yeah, it's so big for both of them. I think a loss doesn't do their legacies well, and I think a win really kind of propels them. I think DC will be talked about top 5 if he wins this fight.
Yeah.
I think if Stipe wins the fight, you got to call him the best heavyweight ever, which really puts him in the conversation as one of the best to ever do it. So,
Yeah.
and obviously, you know, like the guys who watch both Stipe and DC throughout their careers and all, they'll always have respect, but definitely in terms of if we're talking greatest of all time conversation, this is really big, especially
Yeah.
for DC, dude. Because I mean, I think what Stipe has on the line here is kind of his reputation as the best heavyweight ever. DC, 2 weight classes, Olympic, you know, one of the greatest combat athletes ever. So obviously came up short in the Olympics, came up short against John Jones. So man needs this.
It's funny when Dana says like I mean I agree with him, but like Dana's like it's no argument. Like this is for the best
Yeah.
heavyweight of all time.
Yeah.
But like it definitely is skill wise. I think there's no way these two are the best ever.
Yeah. And obviously DC won't have the kind of amount of title defenses that Stipe has had, but if you beat Stipe twice, then how can you argue that Stipe is the better
Yeah,
heavyweight? Yeah.
is because Stipe is like the lone argument right now, like
Yeah.
for best heavyweight of all time. So if DC beats him twice, he has to be the best heavyweight of all time.
Yeah. All
But
right. Let's get into the prediction.
yeah,
Finish again the prediction. I mean, all right. I'm gonna just say I want to talk about kind of the gas tank thing with DC. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about before we get into it actually was what we were saying, how you could kind of look at this in one of 2 ways. Kind of how one argument, because in the first fight, Stipe was kind of winning up until the last minute of when he got finished, I feel like.
mm-hmm.
So other than that, then you take the second fight where DC was winning the whole fight. So DC's like, I was winning that whole fight. Like, so of course, like I'm the better fighter. But then Stipe is like, my feet were stuck in quicksand for
Yeah,
3 rounds. You know,
yeah.
I'm
I
like,
don't know
I
if
felt like I felt like shit. So me winning that fight just shows that if I actually show up and fight well, it'll be an easy win for me. So I don't know who to believe on that, honestly.
I don't know if I believe Stipe on that.
I
Like,
don't know if I believe Stipe in that either, but I do see like his point where I think a big part of it was DC getting tired, but I think that he could fight smarter. He could 100% fight smarter than he did in the second fight.
that's 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 another thing I wanted to talk about is like the wrestling of DC. It's like I feel like that's gonna be a lot bigger factor in this fight. Definitely. I mean, he's talked about it openly. He doesn't really care because he knows you're not gonna be able to stop it. Like that
Yeah,
level of wrestling. I feel like he's he's not gonna force it though. He's definitely gonna strike with Stipe, but he's probably gonna go for at least 1 or 2 takedowns around.
yeah, because he kind of cleared up yesterday. He was like, "I like punching the dude in the face. He's easy
Yeah,
to hit. He's easy to punch in
that's
the
funny.
face."
Yeah, that was
But then
funny.
he also said, like, I can immediately tell the guy knows how to wrestle the second I got in on his leg. So I think he knows that, or at least he's expecting some resistance in the wrestling department and expecting to have to strike if he wants to wrestle, sort of thing. Obviously, you know, maybe what happens is he starts wrestling and it turns out he feels like he could out grapple Stipe. If that's the case, maybe he'll just stay doing it. But I don't think that'll happen.
Yeah, I mean, I like. Did you see that? Like the first round and the second fight when DC kind of held him down for 3 minutes.
Yeah,
It was the first round, right?
yeah. I mean, he didn't do much work, but he did hold him down.
I mean, I feel like he started to do some damage at the end.
Dude, that's such a like big ass body on top of you.
Yeah, I don't know. Like three, like 2, 3 minutes every round like that. If he decides to actually go back to it again, because
Yeah,
like you know how big of a factor that is in someone striking when the person you're fighting fears that, like
yeah,
that in your back pocket.
yeah. All right. So are we ready for the prediction?
Yeah, I know what I know what I think is gonna happen. I think DC is gonna win by decision. Uh, I think it's very possible that either of these guys gets finished, but I don't know. I think both of them were so motivated for this camp that I doubt they're gonna be able to get either of each other out of there.
Yeah.
I think DC's wrestling is gonna be a big factor, and he's gonna be able to edge out a lot of the rounds with that, along with like mixing that in with his striking. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's how he gets it done.
And I'm so torn, but I mean, when I just think of it playing out, and I assume that DC fixed his cardio, and I assume that he'll be able to wrestle and not get tired, then I do think that if he is really serious about fighting smarter and winning the fight, doing whatever it takes to win the fight, I see him getting the wrestling in there, like you said, holding him down maybe a couple minutes each round. And at that point, I think he's gonna be the more active guy in the feet because that's just how he fights. So on the scorecards, I think we'll be able to go up pretty easily. And in the fourth or fifth round, steep dude, it might get a little crazy in the fourth and fifth round.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, because I don't think DC is just gonna go away like he did last
yeah.
time. But I don't
This
think I don't think Stipe is gonna let him coast exactly. So I'm expecting some tough championship rounds. But I think when it's all said and done, I gotta go with the DC decision, just like you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's that. I feel like that's the smart pick. I,
I mean, am I gonna throw a rack on it? Like, I would love to, but
very possible. I don't know. If I were to throw a rack on something, bro, I wouldn't even bother throwing on the specifics. You know.
oh yeah, no, not the decision. I mean, yeah, no. Um, but part of me kind of just wants to watch this fight, enjoy it. No money on the line, no anything. Just kind of watch the fight.
I don't know. Great co-main event too. Great.
Mm,
Such a great card.
mm, great card. We're
Yeah.
both taking DC by decision. I know you really want DC to win. Part of me hopes that Stipe proves me wrong because it would be crazy if Stipe pulled this one out. In my opinion.
Mm, I don't know. I definitely want DC to win. I'm kind of biased. I admit that, but I feel like he's just won like most of the time they've been in there. Like, there's no way he's just gonna allow him to get those body shots off again.
Yeah, now that's not how Stipe is gonna have to like. I don't think Stipe is gonna be able to kind of turn on late when the fight. I think he's gonna have to invest early, not get hit as often as he did last fight, and kind of wear DC out in the wrestling
It all,
exchanges.
it all depends if he's gonna be able to keep that range. Because
Yeah,
last time when he tried to keep that range, he just got leg kicked really hard and then
yeah.
just was then just let DC come in on him. So we'll see if he lets that happen again.
Dude,
And if
what's also big is I think is if Stipe creates some scrambles, that'll tax DC's gas tank a little bit.
I feel like that'll probably tax tax Stipe more if anything
You
because
think? Because I don't know.
he's
I,
used
I
to.
think I think I think if he's really making DC work for the wrestling, DC won't want to wrestle as much.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I feel like the more time they spend wrestling will be better for DC. Unless he's already tired.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're Stipe, you're fine as long as they're not on your back. Honestly.
Yeah,
All right, is that gonna do it?
I feel like it will.
All right, let us know who's taking it in the comments, and we'll see you, dude. Sunday's gonna be sick.
Yeah,
Like when we come back here Sunday, we're gonna have to talk about what happened with that O'Malley fight,
we're
what
gonna be
happened in that DC fight. So that's gonna be crazy.
yeah.
So yeah, see everyone then. Peace.